I wanted what others had, what I missed, a family, to stay innocent and protected as a little girl. But the pain ran deep from a past that wouldn't let me be me. I tried to build what I never knew, but the darkness called and the addiction grew. Drugs became the balm for wounds unhealed, a refuge from the trauma that was never revealed. But it led to chains, mental and physical, and eventually to losing what I was fighting for, my children who were my only reason for living for. My babies no longer in my arms. Supervised visitations felt like hell on earth to me. I was lost in a storm, bound by despair. In the darkest of nights, I felt no one cared. I began to embrace the darkness. I wasn't looking for help. I didn't deserve it, and was too weak to chase it. Yet grace found its way, took the blinders off my eyes to see a love bigger than all the hurt, a love that chose to stay. It wasn't religion that set me free. It was love's pure light reaching out to me. A savior who saw me, not as broken, but whole, who lifted me up and healed my soul. Now I'm driven by that love to give what I lack, be a guide for others, to show them the way back. I love with a heart that's been mended by grace. I want to be a person who can light up the darkest place. He came for me in my deepest despair. All I had to do was surrender to his care. And now I stand with a story to share, full of grace, of love's redemption for all to embrace.
All right, my name is Chantel Dice.
My name is Deidre. They call me Dee Dee.
My name is Jeff Smith.
I'm Joseph Lang. I'm from Gainesville, Florida.
My name's Katie. I was born here in Ocala. I grew up in the Midwest.
So my name is Lacey Campbell. I am originally from Tampa, Florida.
My name is Shane Verhage. I grew up out in Anthony, lived in Tallahassee for a while and moved back in 22.
My name is Zach Shaw. I'm from Palm Beach, Florida originally. Came up to Ocala 10 years ago. Been sober for about 8.5 now. A little over 2 years.
I've been sober, I'm like 2 weeks away from 6 years.
My sober date is February 15th, 2021.
Right now, I got right at 2 months on me.
2 years coming up, January 2025.
I've been clean over 20 years.
Surrounded by darkness, consumed by night, she was engulfed with dread, fear, and fright. Her heart longed for a freedom that her soul could not find. She longed for a vision, yet remained blind.
Yeah, I had quite a few different attempts at sobriety. I tried detox, I tried different 12-step fellowships. I wasn't there yet. I was getting ready to be ready, but I wasn't quite there.
For years, I struggled with addiction to some pretty hard substances. Ran the streets here doing things that you do in addiction. Lost my children to DCF, burned every bridge that I could possibly think of.
Well, when I started, when my addiction started, I never really tried to stay clean. I just wanted to use. I wanted to get high.
She felt hopeless, worthless, and broken into pieces, with nowhere to begin. A heart that was bruised, battered, and riddled by sin. Was there really an escape? Was there any peace? Was there any hope to be offered? When would it all cease?
All of those times prior to 2021, I was forced in some form or fashion, whether it be drug court, dependency drug court, because I have a open case plan with DCF with my children, parents, family, loved ones, whatever it may be. We're always forcing it on me, for lack of better words.
I went through my first treatment center when I was 18 years old. My parents shipped me off to a place in Utah. It's terrible. I ran away. I hitchhiked all the way home to Florida. After that, 12, 13 treatment centers, probably twice as many IOPs.
I would do a couple weeks and then, I'd go right back. And then, it was always one thing or another that'd call me back.
The path has been, it's been a windy road. It's been treacherous. 2016, I was hit and ran over by a minivan at Winter Park, Florida. I was walking down the sidewalk with a girlfriend of mine at the time, when a man lost control because he fell asleep while driving. That's what the excuse he gave. And he took me out. I pushed her out of the way. I was drug underneath, and I broke a lot of bones. It was kind of a catch-22. I got a second chance at life, but I was on so many medication, pain meds and everything because of how hurt I was. It just didn't really get me out of that path, so I was just confused of why am I still here? It's been 8 years since that happened, and I'm still here.
And when I finally got tired was because I felt like I was getting older and my inner voice had started telling me, hey, look, your kids don't like you. You can't live like this for long. You don't get a Social Security check or a retirement from being an addict. What are you gonna do with your life? You know, your parents are getting older, they're tired of taking care of your kids, they're tired of taking up the slack.
Out of the ashes of addiction and complete defeat, she cried out for help and she surrendered at his feet. She knew only God could help heal all of her pain, to quiet the voices that were driving her insane. She placed her life in his hands. She was broken, a mess, and an utter disaster. She was so tired of being a slave under the oppression of a harsh taskmaster.
Going through addiction and things of that nature, we tend to find that lying is the best way to stay out of trouble and those things. Like, that program is very honesty based. It taught me to be honest about what was going on with myself, which in turn taught me to be honest with myself and to be honest with other people. And you know, it held me accountable. I think that was my biggest thing, is I would go to jail and I would get out and thered be no accountability and it'd be waiting for me in the parking lot.
I was molested, had some things happen to me as a child, didn't know how to deal with that, turned to drugs, turned to alcohol, turned to self-harm. I had to get honest with myself, just enough to be able to tell you, to tell everybody, to tell a 12-step room full of people, right? But I had to learn, if I'm okay with it, you can't hurt me. Nobody can hurt me because I'm okay with it.
And this time, I was ready. I was at I call it a jumping off point, where it's like I can end my life now or I can keep going, but something has to change, and ending my life just wasn't an option. I would leave behind loving family and 2 children that needed me, so it was time to make a change, and I meant it, and I wanted it for me this time, not anybody else.
I had to change it all. People, places, things, my attitude on judging people, having my hand behind somebody's back if I was doing something for them, instead of reaching behind, thinking what I was going to get after I did what I did.
Out of the shadows, it was there in the dark, that God began his work of transforming her heart. Like the caterpillar who is tangled in its own web, she knew that addiction had to be evicted from her head. It could no longer remain because it wanted her dead. Slowly she struggled and she broke free. By his light now she could finally see. She spread her wings and began to take flight. All the wrongs of her past, she began to make right.
You know, I could try to get sober for my kids, my mom, my, job. I was getting consequences of using from a really early age. I got sober when I was 19 years old. And the consequences started years before that. I used when I was pregnant with my oldest. Something that I'm not very proud of. But I do know it's very common because of how powerful alcoholism and addiction is. And thank God I had some family members that were involved in the 12-step fellowship down here in Florida. And I came down here and stayed with them, got sober, and started this whole life here.
The catalyst to keep me sober is, my family being back in my life. You know, people don't realize that, just being able to call my mom, just being able to call my dad and be like, hey man, what's going on? Or certain steps that I haven't taken in the past 5 years, I'm able to take with people behind my back. The momentum that drives you every morning to just stay sober. Just don't do it. A lot of people say, just do it tomorrow. And every day you just keep telling yourself, you'll do it tomorrow. Procrastinate it if that's what you got to do, but just do it.
I kind of went through levels where I would try drinking a little bit or try to smoke weed, but it just didn't work for me. Not because it took me back to my drug of choice, but because I didn't like the way it made me feel.
Luckily, I went to a really good rehab, the Recovery Village in Umatilla, Florida. That place saved my life. Moving to Ocala and meeting everybody that I've met here at the Lost and Found Foundation, St. Mark's, Picking Up the Pieces, Unity. Everyone's been so great. I'm recovered now, in recovery now. It took a long time. Losing friends to not only overdoses, but suicide and other things due to drugs.
There were some amends that I made to people who really weren't friends. But like I said, my family and my parents were always there and they were always supportive. So I think the amends making process for most of them was the fact that I was getting clean and was doing what they felt I needed to do in the first place.
There wasn't any like grand event or anything like that. I was just tired and I was ready. And I don't think you ever really know when that's going to come. I think it takes what it takes, and that's the importance of being patient and kind to people that come in and out over the years, because you never know when that person will get it.
All the wrongs of her past, she began to make right. A new hope, a new purpose, promise of a new day, a life in recovery in the absence of dope, a life filled with blessings, promise, and hope. She could hardly believe that this life could be true. She was being recreated, resurrected, and made brand new. No longer a spectator who watched life pass her by. She has transformed from a caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly.
I truly believe I was always meant to be an alcoholic and addict. I don't feel that people were born that way, but I think the things that happened to me certainly pushed me in that direction earlier, sooner, and more heavily. For me, especially with the traumas I went through, just learning how that impacted my life and how to deal with that, and how to cope and like be a regular person. Like for example, I slept in a doghouse for many years when I was a kid. My parents, my neighbors, everybody thought I was a weird kid. Doghouse is real tiny. I'd get all curled up, right? It's because I was being molested. I felt safe. I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. I didn't know how to make myself feel safe. So I was doing what I could. The doghouse turned to alcohol, turned to cocaine, turned to a knife against my skin, turned to heroin.
I did it all on my own. You know, I took the steps. I filled out the paperwork while I was in jail, and I've been a couple times. I've been to prison, and finally I was just like, man, enough's enough. You know, so I got in there, and as I was walking into the little pod thing, you know, it said be free from prison, and I was like, hey, yeah, let's not go back there. You know, so I filled it out. I got this pamphlet, and you know, I want to say this. You know, it was a good step in the right direction.
I'm a drug court graduate. They gave me another chance after I went right back out. And when they gave me that second chance, I took something and did something different. But as far as helping other people, it makes me feel more, it fills that void in my heart. You know, I've got a spiritual life. I get up every morning, I pray, meditate, and do some readings and plan my day, trying to, you know, do the right next thing.
Today I'm here with Picking Up the Pieces, Michelle, helping out at the overdose awareness event.
I am a recovery coach professional with Higher Trail Recovery Services.
I've been working with the guest house, I think, since 2018.
And today I'm out here with an organization called Oxford House that I work for. We are a network of sober living homes.
And I'm here with the Guest House Outpatient.
I work at the Guest House of Ocala. We're a residential trauma treatment center.
I see people going through what I went through. And a lot of it, for 45 years, I blamed it on my upbringing, my stepdad, people like that. Everybody has their own sickness. And I realized that that man was doing the best he knew. That's how he was raised. And now me and him have a genuine, everyday relationship.
It's just not the rich and famous. It's just not, you know, people who are, who have what they call, you know, well, nothing's ever happened in my family. You know, we're a good family. We come from a good place. We're good people. Well, it happens to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, overdose doesn't discriminate. Drug addiction doesn't discriminate.
Let's talk about your family members that's an addict that's suffering. And yeah, that's uncomfortable, and they may have greatly even harmed you. And, you know, not that that's okay. Let's hold people accountable for their actions, but let's talk about it. Get the conversations going. It's happening. It's real.
Don't lose yourself trying to save somebody that just doesn't want it, you know? Because that's the biggest thing, is because I'm still early in it. So, you know, I have a past relationship, and she's kind of iffy about it. And it's like, you know, I love her to death, but I love her enough to let her go to where I got to save myself, you know? So don't get caught up in that. And man, I can't stress it enough, man. It's like, it's such a freeing weight, you know, like it's just, you're finally free, you know, like you don't have to go chase that high, man. You don't have to sleep on that floor. You don't have to go wash some dishes for your next hit. You don't have to do that stuff, man. Like you don't have to go to Walmart and think, are they watching me? You know, like, dude, it's just, there's so much that comes with it. It's not just the oh, I'm sober, you know, like, no, bro, it's you're having your life back, you know, you're getting control of things and you're able to handle things to where, you know, it's mature, but it's sane, you know, you get a sanity back and it's just so much better, man. Life is so much better. So, I mean, if anyone can take anything away, man, just, if I can do it, you can probably do it, you know?
I would say that, you know, keep the hope, keep the faith that if this, you know, drug addict junkie can get and stay sober, anyone can. And don't give up until the miracle happens.
It's a conscious decision. It's a conscious choice that every person needs to make themselves. Nobody can be forced into recovery, but they do need to know that you have a whole community of people. No matter what state you're in, no matter what city you're in, there are meetings, there are churches, there are groups, youth groups, anything. There are people there to help you. So you just gotta open your mouth, ask for the help.
It's possible. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and get around a different group of people than you used to be. You can't look for the same thing and get the different results. You're going to get the same results if you go the same road.
Don't give up. There's always hope.
The work is 100% worth it. It's not always easy. I've swallowed a lot of hard truths about myself, but I wouldn't trade the life that I have now for what I had back then. It's honestly inconceivable that this is my life.
And don't give up. Don't give up. Never give up, man. And, you know, if it comes down to where you think that you're going to do it, call somebody, man. Just call somebody. Someone will help you through it, you know? Or if you do mess up and you go back to it, don't get discouraged. You know, we all fall, man. We fall to get back up, you know? So just keep on it, man. You know, because you don't want to end up on that picture back there. That's for damn sure.